No one saw this coming. Not Elon Musk, not Wall Street, not the trillion-dollar electric vehicle industry, but somewhere deep inside Honda's secretive R&D labs, it just happened. Something that wasn't supposed to leak, something that could wipe out the very foundation of EV dominance overnight. No press conference, no flashy reveal, just a quiet demonstration behind closed doors in Tochigi, Japan. A single prototype, no full electric drivetrain, no plug-in charging, no range anxiety, just a self-generating hybrid system. Within 48 hours, the shockwave had already begun. $17 billion in EV stock value was gone. Tesla staggered, Rivian plunged, and Panasonic went red because what Honda's CEO allegedly unveiled is not just a new engine. It is a direct threat to everything the electric revolution was built on. No superchargers, no dependency on grid infrastructure, no rare earth metals, just a lightweight high-efficiency hybrid unit that charges itself as it drives. No range limit, no lithium mines, no overloaded power grids, just a closed-loop system that rewrites every rule. Sources inside the room described the moment as surreal. One executive stood in stunned silence, while another broke decades of protocol and applauded for 6 minutes straight. For Japan's famously stoic boardrooms, that is not excitement, that is a seismic event, because if this technology is real, and early leaks say it is, then the future does not belong to batteries, it belongs to hybrid autonomy. So before this gets buried, before the lobbyists scramble to shut it down, hit that like button, subscribe, and stay with us, because what you are about to hear may be the beginning of the end for electric cars. Forget everything you thought you knew about hybrids. This is not the Insight 2.0. That car used dual motors, a small battery, and basic regenerative braking. It was efficient, yes, but limited by outdated architecture. This new engine is not that. This is self-charging hybrid combustion. Honda has figured out how to create a closed-loop hybrid engine that generates its own electric power through high-efficiency combustion without ever needing to plug in. The result is a roaring, high-performance drivetrain that delivers extended range, instant torque, and no dependency on charging stations. But here is the truly radical part. The engine does not rely on external charging, it actually eliminates it. Using a proprietary multi-phase energy converter and a dual-mode thermal electric feedback system, the vehicle converts excess engine heat and kinetic energy into usable electrical current in real time. That is right, while you are driving, you fuel it with standard petrol, and the hybrid system recycles and amplifies energy that would normally be lost to heat and friction. How efficient is it? Well, around 5 liters per 100 kilometers, with the electric assist cutting fuel burned by over 40%. No range anxiety, no overloaded power grids, no dependency on lithium, just pure mechanical electrical synergy. Honda says it works in extreme climates, from desert highways to sub-zero mountain roads. There is no need for fast chargers or smart home units. You could theoretically run this across continents without ever stopping to plug in. So, why have we not heard about this until now? Because this engine is not new. In fact, Honda started building it 17 years ago under a top-secret program called Project HX Prime. The idea was sparked in 2008, right as the world's focus shifted to lithium-ion EVs. Honda was already a pioneer in hybrid systems, but they saw something others missed, the coming infrastructure choke of full electrification. So, they began working in silence on a next-generation hybrid platform, one that did not rely on superchargers, mining, or foreign supply chains. By 2012, Project HX Prime had working prototypes, but suddenly, it vanished. No press release, no funeral, no leaks, just silence. Insiders claim it was not technical failure that killed it. It was pressure from oil giants, EV lobbyists, and even rival automakers deeply invested in battery tech. EV startups were gaining momentum, and a hybrid breakthrough like this would have threatened too many supply contracts and regulatory deals, so Honda shelved it. The engineers were reassigned, many to the more politically palatable Clarity fuel cell project. Hydrogen fuel cells were seen as safer, more manageable, easier to regulate, and, honestly, easier to control. But, the world changed. By 2024, headlines were filled with EV battery fires, power grids buckled under charging demand, and lithium mining scandals erupted across Africa and South America. Suddenly, Honda's board saw something they hadn't seen in a decade. An opportunity. Project HX Prime was revived in early 2025, and this time, they were not starting from scratch. They dug up the prototypes, 3 vehicles locked away in a temperature-controlled vault in Tochigi Prefecture. Updated, with modern components, the new testbed hit the road within 5 months, and what it delivered shocked even the engineers who built it. The vehicle accelerates from 0 to 60 in 4.3 seconds, which is actually faster than the Civic and on par with many EVs. Its top speed is 180 km per hour with no torque drop on uphill climbs. Fuel efficiency is a jaw-dropping 760 km on a single tank with no external charging, no plug-in port, and no grid dependency. The refueling process requires no high-voltage charger and no range calculator, just a quick pump stop under 3 minutes. Unlike EVs, you do not need to wait hours for a recharge, there is no range anxiety, and no battery degradation over time. Even more shocking, maintenance is simpler than on a gasoline engine. Honda's engineers claim wear and tear rates are 42% lower than comparable combustion engines. Why? Because the hybrid engine runs cooler, cleaner, and regenerates power through precision-tuned internal feedback systems. There is no constant deep cycling, no lithium stress fractures, and no dependence on ultra-pure battery chemistries. What started as a buried science project from the 2000s may now be the biggest existential threat the EV industry has ever faced, and what happens next could send shockwaves through every carmaker, every miner, and every battery startup on Earth, because the moment this hits mass production, everything changes. As of this moment, Honda has already begun internal testing on multiple production-ready variants. No one was ready for the tremor Honda sent through the electric vehicle world, not even Tesla, because if what is in this engine is real, then the entire EV supply chain, the lifeline of an industry worth over $1 trillion, just got hit by a silent, invisible tsunami. Inside Tesla's Giga Nevada, panic quietly set in. Battery modules, once seen as the core of sustainable transportation, were suddenly obsolete. Lithium was no longer critical, cobalt and nickel were irrelevant. That $4 billion Panasonic battery plant in Kansas became a ticking time bomb of stranded capital. Executives from Lucid, Rivian, and even legacy titans like GM were reportedly summoned into closed-door meetings less than 24 hours after the prototype leak. The whispers were the same in every boardroom. If this hybrid engine is real, we are done. It was not just the materials, it was the infrastructure. Thousands of charging stations across the US, the entire supercharger network, rendered unnecessary. Recycling startups that bet their futures on dead lithium cells were already slashing staff. They saw the writing on the wall. You do not recycle what you do not use. Just as the industry began to comprehend the technological quake, the numbers started trickling in. This was not some sci-fi prototype requiring rare earth elements and graphene batteries. The total engine cost was $1,320 less than one-third the cost of a standard EV drivetrain. No massive battery packs, no high-voltage inverters, just a compact ICE hybrid combo, an ultra-efficient regenerative core, and a supercapacitor system the size of a lunchbox. The operating cost was a staggering 0.8 cents per mile. That is not a typo. Compare that to the 3.2 cents per mile for most EVs, already far cheaper than gas, and the economics just went nuclear. Even when you factor in full vehicle production and energy sourcing, the lifetime emissions of this hybrid-powered car came in 78% lower than the greenest Tesla, including manufacturing. Then came the kicker. The break-even point was just 1.4 years. That's how fast, an average user would recover the entire premium through fuel savings. After that, it's nearly free transportation indefinitely. So what kind of magic was buried inside this thing? At its core is something engineers once called impossible, a thermal regenerative system. Using high-frequency mechanical vibrations and exhaust heat recapture, it generates and stores energy continuously as the vehicle operates. No plug-in, no external input, not stored, not grid-fed, not vulnerable to outages. The combustion engine runs at peak efficiency while the system harvests motion, heat and pressure to feed a dense supercapacitor array that stabilizes current and powers all onboard systems. Cold start was verified at -22 degrees Celsius, so yeah, it works in winter. Emissions were verified with trace vapor and near-zero CO2 output. There is no battery waste, just warm air and a few wisps of steam from the tailpipe on cold mornings. That is it. Perhaps most critically, there is no plug, no charger, and no lithium dependency. The engine generates, stores and recycles power as it drives.